Ventriloquism, you are listening to Dummy himself. Well, this morning, Pastor made an interesting statement that's right along the lines of what I've been studying for about the last 6 to 8 months, and that is Hebrew and Canaanite cultures and how they converge one with another. Now, there's a reason I say this. There's a book out there called Ancient Israel Unearthed by Israel Finkelstein, and obviously this is a another revisionist work, and it seeks to, short-sightedly I might add, to try to deconstruct the Bible and put it into context that, basically the Hebrews are rip-off artists, and we have what we have today because of some nefarious activity on a part of a rebellious Canaanite culture, which basically is the premise of the whole book. Now, Bill Deaver addressed this well over 20 years ago, and he certainly did explain all this to my satisfaction, at least my satisfaction in his book, What the Biblical Writers Knew and When Did They Know It, which is an excellent, epic work on ancient Israel. Another one that is an excellent work that he did, if you want to learn more about Hebrew and Canaanite culture and their convergences, is Did God Have a Wife? Anyway, without staking my tent peg down in any area right here, I do want to bring up the fact that Pastor Dowd mentioned something briefly this morning about Abraham's father being an Amorite and his mother a Hittite. And obviously, if you have not really studied anything about ancient Israelite culture, you would not really know what this crazy statement that is obviously it's a redacted, statement, not something that was spoken in situ with Abraham. Now, maybe he had, and this came down through oral tradition, but didn't make a written form, obviously, until about the 7th to 8th century BCE. Anyway, what does that mean? Abraham's father was a Hittite, or an Amorite, his mother a Hittite. Well, these were Canaanite people. And what we need to know is that Abraham was commanded by Yahweh to leave his father's house in Ur of the Chaldees, or the oven of Syria, and to go to a land which he would show him, which just so happened to be Canaan. Now, the whole phrase, his father being an Amorite and his mother a Hittite, is that Yah chose, for whatever uncomfortable reason you may disagree, but Yah did choose to nurture up Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in a Canaanite culture. And for whatever reason, Yah had some closer relationship with the Canaanites than most Hebrews, Israelites, or Messianics would like to admit. But the archaeology is definitely there. One can read the Ugaritic texts. One can go into various archaeological armana and things like that, and read the archaeological supplements that have been done over the last 20 or 30 or 40 years. And it's obvious, painfully to some, actually relievingly to others who want to make sense out of everything, is that the Israelite Hebrew culture was nurtured and brought up in a prevailing Canaanite culture, which was overshadowed by a larger Eastern culture. This is why pictographical language is the same from Japan all the way into the Near Orient, or what they call the Middle East today, is that because there was once a one unified people. You can read about that in Genesis chapter 10, Genesis chapter 9, and 11, and then you can see about the scattering and things like that. But suffice it to say, the Israelite feasts have equal, or I won't say equal, but they have Canaanite counterparts. The Israelite tabernacle, the structure, the tripartite design of the Temple of Solomon, also of Canaanite structure. Canaanites had these temples in use long before Israel ever returned from Egypt, and as in fact, archaeological and engineering expertise was actually so poor amongst these agricultural shepherds who taught Egyptian spiritual wisdom, not architectural wisdom, because all the architecture that they worked on was done as day laborers and slaves, and basically lower skilled labor. Interesting. They come back into their land and they don't hardly build stone huts. The first city that they moved in was the city of the Jebusites. David took it over, and but until then they dwelt in tents. Even the tabernacle of Yah was a tent, and he dwelled in a tent. And when it came time to build the temple, Solomon or Shemolah, who relied, basically had a lot of money, relied on Phoenicians, Cannanites, that people that weren't under the ban. He relied on them to engineer, architect, and design this pattern and plan that Yah had already given Moshe to build, which just so happened coincidentally to be the same kind of pattern as that of the Canaanites. But to arrive to the conclusion that Israelites are a breakaway tribe from the Canaanites is ridiculous. And as this book goes on, saying that the Hyksos were Hebrews. No, the Hyksos was an Edomite confederation. And even Job was the second king of that. But anyway, this is just an introduction. I do plan on talking much more at length on these subjects because you have to find the convergences of the theological, the physical or archaeological, the textual, as well as the historical aspects. And you have to put all these things together so you can find that at least an educated guess as to what consisted of, or what ancient Israel consisted of. So anyway, I'm not going to lay too much onto you right now, but I just like to make some of those comments today because Pastor's hitting the nail on the head, and I do bless you and thank the Most High Yah for giving us wisdom, Father, and we just bless you and thank you, Father. Have a good day. Shalom.